You know, there's nothing like being behind the scenes. Y'all know how I do it. I love being in the green room, but this time we're in the green room with the one and only Walter Bond. Now, I know y'all are thinking, Shay, I hear the guy Walter Bond, but who is Walter? And more important, you got to be thinking, what is Walter Bond up to these days? Let's check in. Walter, good to have you here on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, my man.
Shay, thank you for having me. And it's a true honor and a privilege, to be honest with you. I know you help a lot of people be happy entrepreneurs, and I'm a happy entrepreneur. That's why I'm always smiling. But who am I? In a previous life, I was an athlete, played pro basketball for 8 years, played for the Dallas Mavericks, Utah Jazz, Detroit Pistons. And after my basketball career ended, that's when I really became successful. You could make the argument that I'm more successful now in business than I was as a ball player. Because some people say, Walter Bond, I never heard of him. He played in the NBA. I wasn't a superstar in the NBA. I made it, right? And so on that journey, honestly, Shay, I learned how to be the best in the world. And so even though I didn't become an NBA All-Star, success principles on the journey and finally achieving this dream you had as a kid really set the platform for me to do what I do now. I'm a Hall of Fame speaker, best-selling author, sit on corporate boards, and it all goes back to who I was in a previous life. The successes and the failures that I learned pursuing the NBA taught me. And so when my career was over, Shay, I was ready to go out and help other people make it to their NBA. So that's kind of in a nutshell who I am.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that. We're like in the green room, okay? And folks that are tuning in, entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, coaches, managers, experts that are out there, they might be wondering, okay, with everything going on in the world, Shay, what is Walter Bond's view of the world on this next level? Because some people had a chance to fall. He's always like, there's a next level. It does exist. It is where you live. Can you take a moment to talk about why next level success is still more relevant today than ever before?
Because God promised it. We're supposed to be fruitful. We're supposed to multiply. And I believe that, right? So if we're not being fruitful, if we're not multiplying, something's wrong. And once you figure out what's wrong, let's change it. Let's fix it. And so everything's a great opportunity. I've been just gifted to be very positive. And since I'm positive, I like to think I respond the right way through adversity. And one of my biggest lessons for anybody who would listen to me, adversity is designed to increase your value. And if you don't understand that, when adversity hits, you're going to quit, you're going to get discouraged, you're going to think you're unlucky. When the truth is, adversity is designed to increase your value. I don't care what chapter of the Bible you read, I don't care who you interview, who you talk to, they overcame some adversity. And when you overcome your adversity, that increases your value and you become more impactful. So no adversity, you don't have a chance to get better. You don't have to reach your potential. And here's the analogy I give. Growing up, my parents are country folks. And my mom and grandma would make homemade cakes and they would sift the flour. They take it everyday all-purpose flour and they would sift it. As they went through the sifter, the flour was refined. And so that's how you got to see adversity. It's a chance for you to get sifted. And when you come out of this adversity, if you allow it to improve you, you will improve. If you don't understand adversity, you might get discouraged, you might quit, you might stop, you might get depressed. So I want to give anything else in this green room, understand that the adversity of the coronavirus will increase your value if you let it.
If you let it. Why does Walter Bond still do this? I know we're going to get into this book, Swim, and I know you're going to get into leadership and you'll get into lessons that you learned. But for someone sitting back, might be like, why does Walter still do what he does right now? He could relax, chill with the wife and kids and do what he does. But what's Walter's big why these days?
The answer is simple: purpose. And my whole life, I was good at baseball. I was good at basketball. I was good at football. My biggest dilemma was, what sport am I going to play? I even played a little college baseball. And throughout my baseball and basketball career, I was always frustrated. I was either getting hurt or the coach didn't play me or didn't believe in me. I never got the table set for me to become a great NBA ball player, pro athlete. And so when I got done playing ball, I was a little frustrated and I couldn't understand why my whole career was so painful. But now I do. God was preparing me for my purpose. Now I can relate to someone who's gone through adversity. I can relate to someone who feels devalued. I can relate to someone who's been injured, who's been hurt, who's been rejected, who's been disrespected. I can relate to someone who's been successful. So when I really think about my basketball career, for a long time, I just thought it was about me making as much money as I could and living this dream of being an athlete. When playing in the NBA was not my purpose. My purpose was to come and help develop happy entrepreneurs so that you can master the fundamentals of business and really understand how to get to that proverbial next level. And that's what we do. We just really help business leaders of all levels. You know, we had a phone call today with Home Depot, right? I sit on the board of a major franchise. And so we know what we're doing because we failed. And since we were able to overcome failure, it really qualifies us to really coach and teach entrepreneurs and say, man, do this, don't do that. Because I tried that. It doesn't work, bro. Go do this. And so it really builds our credibility and it makes us very relatable.
You know, build credibility, make you relatable. There's a mantra that anyone that takes a minute, and we sent your bio, they'll read all the bio. I don't read the bios, but there's this mantra you have, which is think blank and then dominate, right? Think, execute, and dominate. Think, execute, and I heard lately it says win. We're in the green room, man, and folks might be wanting to get the narrative, the backstory. One, how you came up with that mantra, and more importantly, why that philosophy that many of us adopted, myself included, use every single day, that you still use that fundamental thought.
You know, Shay, this is how it happened. Little quick story. I was playing for the Utah Jazz, and we had a legendary coach named Jerry Sloan. You know, Jerry Sloan is one of the winningest coaches of all time. Now I'm trying to make his team, and we didn't scrimmage in practice. We did not play basketball. All we did were drills. And it kind of freaked me out. My agent's calling me, my dad's calling me, my wife's calling me. Hey, how's it going? I'm like, I don't know. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Like, I normally do, but I don't because we don't play basketball. All we do are drills. So eventually, Shay, I went and had this conversation with Jerry Sloan. And, you know, God rest his soul, he just passed away. And he was a man's man. You know, you didn't waste his time with a weak conversation. So I was a little nervous talking to him. And I just asked the question, and I was being sincere. I was, Jerry, since we don't scrimmage, I feel like I can't show you what I can do. And Jerry Sloan took a deep breath, and he said, son, I already know what you can do. But if you want to make my team, I suggest you listen, follow directions, and execute. If you listen, follow directions, and execute, you'll be fine. And I was like, okay, that's different. But let me just take this man at his word. And so I began to listen better. I began to follow directions better. And I began to execute better. And I made his team in a totally different way than I was used to, right? And so when I got out of sports and we got into business, we started working with companies. And I was like, what's your way? Like, what do you mean? Chick-fil-A has a way. What's your way? You know what I mean? What is your winning strategy, right? How are you thinking, right? Are you thinking right? You and I both know if you're not thinking right, it'll be impossible for you to be successful. It will be impossible for you to reach your potential. So the first thing we got to do is get our mindset right. And that's why I love talking about the sharp mindset. It begins with us thinking right. And once you think right, then you got to build a winning strategy for business, right? And once you have a winning strategy, then you got to execute the strategy. Those are three moving parts. And honestly, very few people do all three well. The Targets and the Walmarts and the Chick-fil-A's of the world, they think right, they execute, and they dominate, right? And it's really that simple. And people say, well, I'm just a small company. You know, I'm just a small business. And I was like, well, everybody was a small business at some point. At some point, Coca-Cola was a small business. You know that, right? At some point, Walmart was, Nike at some point was a small business. They eventually became mega because they thought right, they executed, and they dominated. And I think the same thing is true for all of us if we can execute that way.
For those folks out there listening, you listen to the one and only Walter Bond, and boy, is he laying out. You can go to walterbond.com. You can check them all out. But do me a favor. You can pay this message forward. We believe in the giver's economy. The person outgives the competition, out-earns the competition. The person outgives the competition, out-earns the competition. So do me a favor right now. Hit the share button. No, hit the share button right now. And when you hit the share button or the watch party button, you have Walter's permission. He's perfectly okay with that. You'll see the box pop up. When that box pops up, just write think, execute, and dominate. Hashtag Walter Bond. Just put think, execute, and dominate, and put hashtag Walter Bond. That's what it's all about. And I know we're doing something different. I get it, but I want you to do that right now. Hit the share button, like right now. Pay it forward to another little girl, another little boy that's out there. For Montrese Robinson is watching. Thank you so much. Lauren Brown loves you. She's out there watching right now. Thank you so much. Erna, we appreciate you. Sean out in California, she took time away from her client to be here. Thank you so much. Walter, they're hitting the share button as they are now paying this forward to their network right now. Take a moment and just talk about the spirit of collaboration. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to it. We'll get to the book Swim. I'll let him make sure he shares that with you and how that relates to you as an entrepreneur. But first, I want him to talk about the spirit of collaboration at a time where some people are operating in a place of scarcity and they're holding what they got. But Walter's here sharing. He's here collaborating. He's here being present with you and me through the power of those fiber optic lines, just like he does for corporations every day. Just like he does for government agencies every day. Just like he does for nonprofits and entrepreneurs every single day. He's here right now playing full out. He's all in. All right, so take a moment, Walter. Talk about the power or spirit of collaboration and why you still do that. So important, because you don't have to.
That's a great question, Shay. And again, it goes to how you think, and we always throw around the term haters. A real hater doesn't understand abundance. A real hater doesn't really get that God will accept your offering, right? If you're thinking right, if you're executing right, if you're positioning yourself to be successful, basically it's a formula, right? And success leaves clues. If you're not doing the right things, you're not going to prosper. And so my approach to life is really positioning myself to get all that God got for me. And the way we do that is by being generous, right? If you really think about money, for example, money is a currency that is meant to flow. We're just stewards of money, right? That's not your money, right? You're stewards of the money. And I think if you're doing a better job with money, God will let you have more money because you're a good steward of money. I'll give you an example. I live in Boca Raton, Florida. My neighborhood is probably 80% Jewish. And man, they believe in that Old Testament. And I was having dinner with a guy, and I just put 3 kids through Howard University, okay? Straight cash on me. And I'm feeling good about myself, man. I paid my kids college tuition. They were in school at the same time. So you're talking about some big checks we were writing to Howard University. And I had dinner with a guy, a very successful businessman. He owned the NHL hockey team. And that's what he said to me, Shay. And think about abundance. He sends 100 kids to college every year himself. And over dinner, I'm having dinner with this guy, connecting with him. He says, Walter, I don't know if I'm doing enough. I'm like, wait a minute. You're sending 100 kids to college out your pocket, and you're sitting here acting like you're not doing enough. And these not even his kids. I'm over here feeling good about sending my own kids to college. You know what I mean? Pat myself on the back. And this dude is beating himself up because he's only sending 100 kids to college every year who are not even his flesh and blood, who aren't even his kinfolk, as we would say. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a guy who owns an NHL hockey team, so he's clearly a billionaire, right? So the question is, well, of course he can do that. He's a billionaire. But what came first, the chicken or the egg? I'm here to tell you, man, if you're stingy now, you're going to be stingy when you get rich. If you're generous now, you're going to be generous when the money shows up. So the truth is, how are you thinking right now is going to dictate how you live, how you operate. And I've decided to be generous. I've decided to take this gift that God gave me and share it with the world. And the truth is, that's my purpose. That is my job. And by me being generous, by me being a giver, it's really opened up the door for me and my wife to be bigger stewards of more money. And the truth is, I've gotten a chance to be around a lot of successful business people, and they're all generous. In my neighborhood, we have 6 billionaires. One of our residents is a guy named Bernie Marcus, founder of Home Depot. We're going to talk about that in a moment because you better use your money to get access to the right people. When I retired from the NBA, the first thing we did was join country clubs, okay? We're all social creatures. So growing up, it was like hook me up with some now ladies or sunflower seeds, right? That's how we did it back in the day in Chicago. Hook me up, right? But now in the country club, people are still hooking each other up. But now these are with $1 million consulting contracts or $10 million opportunities. So the same dynamics are there, no different than the now ladies, no different than the sunflower seeds, right? But it's operating at a high level because we're around people who have better resources. I give to them, they give to me. I hook them up, they hook me up. The same dynamic that happens in the hood, around the house, at the crib, is happening in the country clubs. So what if you took your resources and joined the country club and got access to decision makers? One thing that I've learned being around millionaires on a regular basis, they're all generous. They look at money differently. I was on a private jet with a guy, and he's, big business guy, and he started talking about money, and I was helping him, do some coaching on the plane. Now it's just him, my wife, and his wife on this beautiful corporate jet. In the back of my mind, I was like, man, it's a long way for a brother from 87th Street in Chicago. But he talked about money. He was like, hey, if we run out, we'll go get more. That was his attitude. It's just money. It's just money. If we run out, we'll go get more. He's a billionaire, but that was his mindset. It's just money. Like, don't make money more than what it is. And so his association to money positioned him to be generous. And so I've been around successful people. And Shay, it is obvious to me that we can't have this scarcity mentality. Okay? If you do 2 things with money, do 2 things with money. Here's what you should do with money. Get you some information with that money so you're smarter, and make sure you use that money to get access to a higher caliber person than what you currently hang out with. My whole life, we've been living at country clubs since I retired from the NBA, and every couple of years we upgrade country clubs because it's just a higher caliber person at this country club. We can't outdo ourselves now. We're locked in here. But it was just a mentality. Like, okay, if you want, people say it all the time. Your salary is going to be the average of your 5 closest friends. Okay, cool. So I can't go back to Chicago and hang out with my boys because they broke, right? And I really like corporate people. That's cool. But what if I get around the owners and the GMs and the CEOs and the board members? What if I get around them and they become my friend? That is best case scenario. So we took money to get smarter, buying books, trainings, education, and we took money to get access to people of influence.
Yeah, I love it. For those folks out there.
If our happy entrepreneurs do the same, they'll get the benefit of it.
No, that's spot on. I love it. For those folks that are out there right now, do me a favor. Pay this message forward to your organization. Put it onto social media. Hit the share button. Hit the like button. Walter Bond is here to serve. Don't worry. I'm going to ask him next. Like, Walter, can you talk to the managers? Can you talk to the leaders? Can you talk to those folks now who have to keep their teams together? They're now virtual in the space. And what advice does he have for you that's out there right now? As an entrepreneur, as you're listening, you'll be able to benefit because you might have some contractors or some folks that are not there in your home with you. Obviously. So I'm going to talk to Walter. He's going to answer that question in a moment. But first, there's something you can do. Ricky's out there. Ricky Wilson said, hey, great job. Get some information, pay for access. Thank you. Lauren Brown says she's going to decide to be generous. We appreciate it. Leah James, a top wrestler, by the way. She's just super amazing. Got to connect you two together, man. Olympian. She's amazing in her own rights. Thanks. She's watching you. She's out there. Erna, thanks so much for joining. Beth, yeah. This is real. He's here real live now. Take a moment, Walter, because one of the things you do, don't worry. We're going to get into the swim book. I have not forgotten, but Walter works with corporations and managers and leaders and directors and vice presidents and entrepreneurs on a daily basis. So I'm going to ask him the question I know comes up often, which is, man, in this virtual space, how do I build team unity? You could do it on the basketball court, Walter, because you're there playing with the guys every day and y'all are running practices and you're there. But in this virtual space, don't give us all the secrets, but what are you telling leaders to do right now so they can stay connected and be able to communicate and build team harmony?
Well, the first question I would ask is, what kind of teamwork did you have before coronavirus? Let me be perfectly honest with you. Coronavirus was really here to really disrupt how we did business and give us a chance to recalibrate. Now, when you think about recalibration, it simply means that, you know what, I got to change. And one of the specialties we have is helping organizations build their team. And a team is really based on your culture. So before I can even get into how to build a team, the first question I got to have is, what are your core values? See, organizations that don't have core values, and I'm talking to entrepreneurs, just because you got a great idea doesn't mean squat. There's a bunch of great ideas out here. At some point, you got to put legs on this idea and you got to grow this idea. And so the first question I have for you is, what are your core values? You know, core values help families. Am I right or wrong? Right? You grew up with people who parents didn't care. Right? I had friends like that. Parents didn't care if they came home. Parents didn't give them any discipline. Parents didn't set any expectations. And those friends like that were typically wild. You know, I grew up in a home like, boy, you better shut your mouth. You better not talk back. You better go to school. You better get educated. And you better not flunk out. In fact, my parents told me, if you play pro sports, you better not go broke. My family had two core values, Shay.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was a kindergarten teacher. And I want y'all to hear me clearly because this is a game changer for you. Every day I left the house, my mom would say, be sweet, baby, be sweet. Just get along with people. Be sweet, baby. Be sweet. Just get along with people. The likability factor is the best kept secret in business. People want to buy from people they like. And the beautiful thing about being likable, when you screw up, and you're going to screw up, you're going to make mistakes. When people like you, it's not that big a deal. How many people you don't like are doing some work for you or you do business with, and you don't really like them, you don't feel them, and as soon as they make a mistake, you got your excuse you've been looking for to fire them, or to terminate them, or to get rid of them because you don't like them in the first place. How many of you ladies got a girlfriend that you know is crazy, but you defend her? Oh, you know, you just got to get to know her. You know, I know what you're saying, but you know, she a good person. You know she crazy, right? But you defend her because you like her. Likability factor is why Charles Barkley is Charles Barkley. Oprah Winfrey's a billionaire because she's likable. So to make this personal to you, here's the truth. Some people brighten up a room when they enter. Some people brighten up a room when they leave. My mama, every day we left the house, would say, be sweet, baby. Be sweet. Just get along with people. My old man would say, go get it, son. That was his philosophy on life. Go get it, son. Go get it. My family had two core values. Go get it, son, and be sweet, baby. Be sweet. If you want to know who Walter Bond is, that frames me up. I'm going to get along with you. I don't care if you're a trip. I'm gonna work really hard to get along with you because there's no benefit in enemies. Here's why. Any blessing you get from God has got to pass through another man or woman's hands. God ain't dropping nothing from the sky. So successful people know a lot of people, right? So the core value of being likable was really important to our team called family. Going for your dreams was the other core value that we operated with. I'm going all the way back to core values because I'm thinking about your team. You got an idea, you got a business, you got a product, you got a service. But what are you building your company on? What are the core values of your way? When I played for the Utah Jazz, Jerry Sloan wanted to see if I fit in with his way. And so as an entrepreneur, I don't care if it's two of you, I don't care if it's five of you, I don't care if it's 10 of you. You got a way right now. And the question is, do you like your way? Are you focused? Are you efficient? Are you hardworking? Are you supportive? Are you critical? Is everyone in their own silos, or do we collaborate and work together? You got a way right now. So the $1 million question, honestly, do you like your culture? Do you like your way? See, the question here is, Shay, how can I be an entrepreneur with a great idea, but I can't get my company off the ground? Simple. Your culture's not right. You can't do anything until you fix your culture. Why? Because a house divided against itself cannot stand. Chick-fil-A got a culture. And their culture is so strong, they can take one day off and still kick everybody else's butt. Think about that. Chick-fil-A said, look, man, we're going to take one day off, and we still going to outsell all of y'all. Chick-fil-A averages about 4.3 million a store. Unheard of. You can look at any other franchise brand, nobody's even close to that. Cheesecake Factory is close, and they sell alcohol, and they're open up 7 days a week. Chick-fil-A wins because of their product, but most importantly, they win because of their culture. You should have a culture where it's obvious if someone is a good fit or not. Because if you don't have core values, here's what happens, Shay. Each individual is going to bring their own core values. That's why strong personalities can take over an organization. Why? Because you don't have a culture, and that's your fault. You should have a culture that governs your company, and everyone abides by the culture, and nobody can come and control or manipulate the culture. The only way someone can come in and control and manipulate a culture is because the culture was weak in the first place. So if you have a great idea, happy entrepreneur, that's not enough anymore. That's the beginning. A great idea gives you a chance, it gives you a shot, but you got to know how to build. You got to think like a general contractor. Okay, you got to think like a home builder. Like, what's my foundation of this company? Why do we do what we do? Who's our A customer? I can go through a whole laundry list, but honestly, you got to start with your core values. Your core values govern your culture. And once you build the culture that you like, so might be the perfect culture over here, and you might say, well, Walter, we're somewhere over here. You got to work really hard until who you are becomes who you want to be. Did you hear what I just said? You can't quit until who you are as a company becomes who you want to be. And the analogy I give with that, Shay, is playing in the NBA. I had to reach my potential. I was not going to play in the NBA. What a beautiful experience. I can honestly say that I became the best basketball player I was capable of. I couldn't run like Kobe. I couldn't jump like LeBron. I had to literally become the best Walter Bond that I can be. And when I made it to the NBA and put on that jersey, I knew that, man, there was not any more toothpaste in this tube of toothpaste. I got it all out. And I'm telling entrepreneurs, you got to get it all out. Every ounce of potential on the inside of you, for you to live your dream as an entrepreneur and be happy, you got to look at you just like a tube of toothpaste. That's why adversity is good for you. When you put pressure on the toothpaste, what comes out? More toothpaste. So when I put pressure on you, what's going to come out? Anger, confusion, lack of trust, verbal abuse. I've been inside of companies. I know what's going on. We do interviews with employees. They call us crying sometimes. They're so frustrated. They feel the culture is so bad and toxic. And here's the truth. Fix your culture first. If you fix your culture first, you will attract the right people. And the right people who need to leave will self-select out. And the right people who fit your culture will self-select in. So when I think about teams, Shay, it begins and ends with the culture that you're building right now as the entrepreneur.
You know, Walter, one of the things I love about this conversation is that, you know, folks are getting to see a side, I believe, of you, at least through this conversation, how you work with companies and entrepreneurs every single day. I mean, yes, you're a speaker, Hall of Fame speaker. Yes, you played in the NBA, I get it. Yes, you run successful business, I get it. And yes, you can inspire. But behind the inspiring and behind the empowering, he puts together a system that you can use. For those folks that are out there, do me a favor. And this is very important. This is very important. Yes, you should bring Walter in to speak to your company. He can get them fired up and get them going. Yes, yes, yes. But for some of you out there as well, you're thinking, how do I apply what he's saying, Shay? How do I stay in this conversation over and beyond now? How do I apply these systems in my business or for my organizations? Do me a favor first, because I'm going to ask him to talk about one of his systems called the Mousetrap, right? And it's let me tell you, I get a chance to listen to Walter like at least 4 times a week. I'm a runner. I run 5 marathons. Many of you know that. So I get a chance to listen to them at least 4 times a week. No kidding. My favorite one is 17 minutes and 12 seconds long, but that's a topic for another time. You'll see it out there, right? It's the best motivational speaker you'll ever hear. But in there, talks about the mousetrap. So what I'd like for you to do right now is hit the share button. And I want you to hit the watch party button, hit the share button, and I want you to write those words that he put down. A winning culture. Just put down a winning culture. Just put that down. A winning culture. Hashtag Walter Bond. Now, why do I want you to say that? Because he framed up the mindset. But for some of you as entrepreneurs, some of you as business owners, you're thinking, all right, what was Walter doing? Because an NBA guy coming off the bench, how in the world he get someone to get him to speak? I mean, literally, nothing personal. He's a funny guy, but there's a lot of freaking funny guys out there. Yes, he played in the NBA, a lot of them. But what was his system? Systems be goals every single time. My favorite saying. So what was his system? What did he use? Well, I'm telling you, you don't have to pay 10 grand right now. He said, Shay, I'll share my mousetrap philosophy with you. I'm going to share it with you. And you tune in. All y'all out there, I want you all to lean in now. Lean in. And if you lean in, just say, thank you, Walter. Just look at the camera and be like, thank you. Because he's about to bless you with a system that will change your business if you let it. Walter, talk to him for those folks that are out there like Karen that's out there is watching. Scotty, I don't know how Scotty find time to do this. Eric that's out there and so forth. Take a moment and talk about the mousetrap. They can get the book to swim, okay? It might have to be another conversation, but I want you to talk about this because at a time people need a philosophy, now is your time. Take it away, Walter.
Absolutely. First of all, let me frame it up this way. One thing that I learned about being an athlete, in order for me to play in the NBA, I had to master the fundamentals of basketball. I had to dribble, right, like an NBA ball player. I had to shoot like an NBA ball player. I had to pass and defend and master the fundamentals of basketball. If you don't master the fundamentals of basketball, you're not going to play in the NBA. So when I got into business, everybody's focused on making money. My initial focus was, how do I master the fundamentals of business? Okay, I got to learn how to market. Okay, I got to really learn how to market well. Small business owners typically have no clue how to market. And for me, that's like an NBA ball player not knowing how to dribble and thinking that they're going to play in the NBA. Like if I'm in high school trying to play in the NBA, you better learn how to dribble, and then you better learn how to shoot, you better learn how to pass. And so if I'm in business and you're not even learning how to market, you don't know how to sell, you don't know how to lead and build culture, you got to focus on these fundamentals until you master them. Okay, the Marketing Mousetrap is a very simple marketing methodology that we teach in our coaching program for entrepreneurs. And we help people build mousetraps because it's a simple metaphor. And I'm just going to cover it at a high level because there's a lot more context to it. But I just want to give you the overall premise, and you do with it what you choose. A mousetrap, old school mousetraps. There's 4,000 patents on a mousetrap. Okay? But if you go into a local hardwood store, they typically only have 2 or 3 choices, which means even though there's 4,000 patents, actually it's 3,997 patents on the mousetrap. But when you go to the store, there's only 3 choices, which means most of these mousetraps are bad. They don't work. And that's what happens with most companies. Their marketing strategy is bad. It doesn't work. So a mousetrap, the old school, made out of wood. That little block of wood represents the foundation. What is your product? What is your service? Okay? Or what is your niche? Chick-fil-A says we didn't invent the chicken, but we invented the chicken sandwich. You go in that store and they are totally focused on their niche. How many times have you seen a truck drive down the street, you read their truck, and you still don't know what they do? I've seen commercials and I've seen billboards, and I'll look at them and I'll walk away from looking at a billboard. I still don't know what they do. So when you market, you want to make selling easier, and you need to market in a way that is clear. So what is your niche? What is the foundation of your company? Here's what we do. We develop impact players as professionals, and we build high-performing teams. That's simple. If you want to know about Walter Bond Worldwide and what we do, it's simple. We're developing impact players, and we're helping organizations build high-performing teams. It's that simple, okay? And if we do those 2 things well, we'll be printing money for the rest of our lives. So what are you doing? Simply, what do you do? Okay? That represents that little block of wood. The next part of a mousetrap is the cheese. Okay? You got to put something on the mousetrap to attract people. What are you using to attract customers? Okay. Are you a great value? Are you the least expensive? You got the best quality. There's three different categories that's already been established of buyers. Some people want the best that money can buy, some people want a value, and some people want as cheap as possible. So if you're going to put cheese on your mousetrap, you got to be clear about your cheese so you can attract the type of mouse you want to attract. And so we teach in our coaching program to go after A customers. And what we found, Shay, through a simple poll, most of our small business owners, when we started coaching them, they don't even know who their A customer is. Now think about that.
Mm.
You're in business, invested all this money, cashed in your 401k, borrowed money from your mama and your brother and your sister, right? About to ruin your family relationships. And you don't even know who your A customer is. And I have not met many of our coaching clients when we first meet them even know who their A customer is. You don't set up a mousetrap to catch cats. You don't set up a mousetrap to catch dogs. You set up a mousetrap to catch mice. So the question is, what is your cheese? Okay. What are you using to attract customers? Okay. And to kind of fast forward without us going too deep into it, when you catch someone nibbling on your cheese, a mousetrap has a promise. It's called the lever. Okay. So your website should be attracting people. Your copy should be attracting people. Your social media should be attracting people. And when you catch somebody nibbling on your cheese, you got to give them a promise. This is what I tell my clients. If you hire me to speak at your conference, I'll be the best speaker you ever had. Your only issue is finding another speaker to follow me up. But that's okay because I can come back 2 years in a row. I almost say that same thing every time. I find a meeting planner or a business leader nibbling on my cheese. I know you're interested. All right. You're checking my dates. You're checking my videos. You're checking my content. You're thinking to yourself, man, he perfect to open. Woo-hoo. Man, he'd be a great closer. Okay, I don't know. How much is he? You're nibbling on my cheese because you went to my website. If I can get a conversation going with you, I'm going to give you the promise. If you watch any commercial, they always give a promise. They almost always give a promise. Because if people are going to spend money with you, they want to have confidence in the money they're about to spend. Okay, I don't care if it's 5,000, 10,000, 30,000, 100,000. We all spend money based on our confidence. That's why companies give a promise. Okay, I'm not even talking about a money back guarantee. I don't give you a money back guarantee, but I make you a promise. I'll be the best speaker you ever had because I want to give you confidence to choose me. And so we had Buffalo Wild Wings, Shay.
Mm-hmm.
They said no to me 8 years in a row. And let me tell you something about basketball. We were trained to follow through. We were trained to follow through. Shoot the ball, son, and always follow through. I was trained to follow through. I started doing studies on sales. 80% of deals are closed on the 5th to 12th follow up. Huh? Follow through. How many salespeople you know call once? I've had people come to my house. We're rehabbing a house here in Florida. It's an HGTV special. I've had vendors come into this house, spend an hour with me, measure and do all this stuff, and never send a proposal, or send a proposal and never follow up, or send a proposal and follow up once.
Mm.
When 80% of deals are closed on the 5th to 12th follow up, Buffalo Wild Wings said no to me 8 years in a row. I had them on the phone. They were nibbling on my cheese eighth time. I'm going to get you this time. I told the meeting planner, if you book me to speak at your conference, I'll be the best speaker you ever had. Your only issue is going to be finding another speaker to follow me up, but that's okay because I can come back 2 years in a row. We closed the deal, and the young lady going to set me straight. She goes, well, Walter, I want you to know what kind of caliber of people we have at our conference. Last year, we had Magic Johnson.
Mm.
Shay, I'm a ball player, okay? And I love Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is one of my favorite people.
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad Ali loved Magic, but I told that meeting planner, look, I didn't stutter and I didn't mince my words. Magic Johnson had a better basketball career than me, but my statement stands. I'll be the best speaker you ever had. We got done with their conference. We do our follow up. The meeting planner goes, whoa, Walter, wow. My people loved you. You were funny. You were entertaining. You taught us. One minute we were laughing. The next minute we were thinking. The next minute we were writing notes. And you were talking about helping us at home with our wife and our kids. And you gave us business content all in 60 minutes. Man, you were unbelievable. And my people basically said that you and Lou Holtz were our best two speakers ever. Oh, Lou Holtz, man. I hate Ty. I hate Ty. Like, how you gonna do that to me? Me and Lou Holtz were the best two speakers ever. And what happened to Magic?
Right.
What happened to Magic? You didn't say nothing about Lou Holtz. So I'm on the stage thinking I'm about to kick Magic's butt. And they threw a curveball when I followed up. Yeah, you and Lou Holtz. The bottom line is I closed the deal because I kept following up. Mm-hmm. And I gave them a promise. And I delivered on that promise. Business leaders, nothing happens until something is sold. When I played in the NBA, I shot 500 shots a day. When I got in business, I would call 25 people a day and ask them to buy. 25 people a day and ask them to buy. If you do the math, if you do that every single day, that's 6,000 people in a year. Entrepreneurs, I can help you right now if you just build a sales culture. Okay, what are your salespeople doing? Right? They should be selling all day. That's what lawyers do. They lawyer all day. Cooks cook all day. People who paint should paint all day. If you got a sales team, they should be selling all day. For 2 hours a day, I would call 25 people and ask them to buy. And I would follow up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a Hall of Fame speaker. And people say, man, what's your secret? What's your secret? Follow up. They told me if I could just follow through on my jump shot, I could play in the NBA. I followed through. And I made it to the NBA. People taught me in sales, man, just follow up. 80%. It takes people exposure to you at least 6 times before they even are cognizant of who you are and what you do. So you can't call once or twice. You got to follow up consistently. But you got to have marketing mastery. You got to know how to sell. Okay? The reason why LeBron James is the best basketball player on the planet today is because he can do every basketball fundamental at a high level, and he's more athletic than everybody else, and he's bigger than everybody else. So it's obvious why he dominates. So if you want to think, if you want to execute, if you want to dominate, what happens if you market better than your competition? What happens if you sell better than your competition? What happens if your culture is better than your competition? What happens if your mousetrap is better than your competition? That's why you need coaches. Our coaches helped us master basketball. And in our coaching program, that's what we do. We're going to teach you how to master the fundamentals of business because it's not about being smart. Being smart is not enough. You got to have some good strategy and you got to execute this strategy, but you got to master the fundamentals of business. I share these thoughts with people and they look at me like, man, this is brilliant. Dude, this is common sense to me. Because if you can't dribble, you can't play in the NBA. So let me work on my dribbling. If you can't shoot, you can't play in the NBA. So let me work on my shooting. If you're not in great shape, you can't play in the NBA. Well, let me get my butt in shape. Same thing is true. Let's use common sense, business people. Who's taught you how to market? Who taught you how to sell? Who taught you how to lead and build culture? Who taught you, all the business fundamentals and engaging a client and building a relationship, get out of transactions and build relationships? My wife and I for 20 years have just executed a little bit better than almost all speakers out here. And that's how we got to the top of our industry. We sought the fundamentals, we mastered the fundamentals, and we just execute all these little things. And man, it is really that simple. And so when people get connected to us, I mean, it's like, dude, like Jersey Mike Subs is my biggest client. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you an example. I'm on the plane flying around and we were going to one of their meetings. And the CEO and founder, Peter Cancro, he said, Walter, I'm going to do the meeting agenda. I want you to look at it. All right, Peter. I fell asleep on the plane, living the life. And I'm looking around like, man, this is crazy. I'm on a private plane. And he hands me the agenda, and all it was Word. And it's the end of the year meeting. I look at Peter, I said, Peter, you guys had a good year this year? He goes, oh, yeah, it was a record year. I said, you played high school football? He goes, yeah. I said, what was the first thing you did when your season was over and you had a good season? He just fell back in his chair. Celebrate. Absolutely. Peter, man, your team just had a record year. We don't need more work. Let's go celebrate. He just, Walter, man, dude, scrapped the plan. He trusted me. And man, we hung out in Florida at this great Ritz-Carlton hotel, 3 days sipping bourbon and cigars and high-fiving. And man, we had a great year. But on the fourth day, after we celebrated, I facilitated a conference because we just did a little bit of work because we celebrated. I said, hey guys, all right, celebration's almost over. All right. The new season is right around the corner. I want everybody in this room to write down 2 things they think that we need to do to take Jersey Mike to that next level. Man, you felt the energy shift. We celebrated. We had a good year. We won a championship this year. But just like Michael Jordan, that season's over. He's trying to win a championship every year. So we celebrated. We popped the champagne bottles. You seen the locker room celebration. And not soon after the season's over, what is Michael Jordan thinking? Okay, what we got to do next year? To win again. And man, we handed those sheets of paper in. I collected them and gave them to the founder. And that's what we did. So there's a bunch of little things that entrepreneurs got to know. And I'm just so thankful that I had a sports background. And now I've been dealing with so many companies. My wife and I have seen it all. We've seen toxic cultures. We've seen amazing cultures. We've seen great leaders. We've seen horrible leaders. We've seen companies fall apart. We've seen companies grow. And it all rides on that entrepreneur's ability to really master all the fundamentals of business until you got a big enough budget to hire someone, right? Until you got enough of some runway where you can begin to hire that gift and hire that talent. But in the beginning, you're probably going to be a one-man band, which means you got to have your hand in everything. But as you grow your organization, eventually you have to create other owners. Now, Shay, I could talk all day because here's what a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand. You can't come to work with the mentality, this is my company. You got to come to work and build a culture to say, it's our company. See, when I left sports and got into business, everything was about leadership. Leadership speaker, leadership breakout, leadership. And they're talking about executive presence and own the room. And it was so selfish and self-centered. I was like, yo, leadership is about you. Teamwork is about us. So should your culture be about you? Or should your culture be about us? I know you own the company. Everybody know that. You don't have to keep reminding me. But let me own marketing. Let me own the sales team. Let me own human resources. Everybody that works for you should be an owner. Woo! I just said something, Shay. Everybody that works for you needs to be an owner. Everybody that works for you, you got to empower them to own something. You want a building full of owners because when you own something, you get to work early. When you own something, you go to work late. You don't want anything but owners inside of your culture because if you let them own what they do, you will have some soldiers that are ready to go to work every single day because these are stakeholders in this company. And it's not my company. This is our company. And man, I can go on all day, Shay, but
you know, I mean, so well said. For those folks that are out there, man, he broke it all the way down. I want you to see the business principles and the business mindset that drives not only what he does, but the folks that he works with every day. I know he can motivate. I know that. But I want you to see the business side. Do me a favor for those folks that are out there that are having a good time. Carlika, thanks for joining. Katisha Batista's out there. Thanks for watching so much as well. So many out there watching. Do me a favor. Here's how you give a digital applause. You might be wondering, how do I give Walter a digital applause? Well, you hit the share button. You hit the watch party button. And when you hit that share button, just put serve plus add value. Hashtag Walter Bond. If you want to know what's going to happen when you bring Walter Bond on, when you hire him and bring him to work with you, he's going to do 2 things. Yeah, he's going to be the best you ever had, which is a line I took for him, by the way. He don't know that. So y'all out there that know me, and I'd be like, this will be the best sales team you've ever had, ever. Okay. I got it from Walter. Shh. I knew he was going to do that. But hit the share button, hit the watch party button, and I want you to write that serve plus add value. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what Walter's doing? He's serving plus add value. Hit the watch. So you don't have to hold back. Don't hold. If you hit the share button before, hit it again. Some of y'all have hit it twice. Some of y'all put it on Facebook. I get it. If you listen to the podcast, take the link, put it on LinkedIn, put it wherever you want. Walter's okay with it. Don't worry about him. He's okay with you paying us for it. Help another entrepreneur. Help another young boy or a young girl, a big boy, or someone is out there, Teresa Davis, someone out there, Gwendolyn, someone is out there right now. Serve plus add value. Walter, they may be wondering, like I'm wondering, you work with a lot of folks. And I'd be saying, Shay, I know you're going to get to today's my January 1st. Don't worry, I'm going to get to that and then we're out of here. But Walter's got to tell you, I shouldn't say got to tell you, Walter. I like if you break it into two parts, okay? You can handle this, Walter. I don't normally do this, but I know you can handle it. I want you to talk to the type of clients your firm looks for that maybe are a company, or maybe they have employees, maybe they're a government agency, maybe they're a nonprofit. And I want you to talk to the type of clients you look for so they know how you can serve them. And then if you come to the other side with us entrepreneurs, us speakers, us authors, us coaches, us trainers, us network marketers, man, we got a bunch of 1099s working for us, 1 or 2 employees, but we getting there, man. We doing our thing. So first, ladies and gentlemen, listen as he talks. One, corporate side, and then the other, the entrepreneurs. Walter, who do you work with? That's the question. And secondly, how can they best connect with your organization? You listening right now, listen for how I could help you, or you could share this message forward to someone else. Take it away, Walter.
Got it. Well, Shay, thank you. First of all, I talked about purpose earlier. Without bragging, I just want to make a point just to kind of frame it. And this is how we approach it. I've been able to become the best in the world in 2 different industries, right? So when you make it to the NBA, you're basically one of the best basketball players in the world. So now, as a Hall of Fame speaker, there's only like 200 alive. And so by doing both at a high level, it's really positioned us to be authorities. And so I want to speak to my authors, my speakers, my thought leaders and trainers first. You can't play in the NBA if you can't hoop, right? You can't fake it, right? You can't fake it into the NBA. You got to be really good. And so that's my message for all my speakers. We have a coaching program for speakers. We meet every Saturday. And my basic advice is, look, I can coach you on everything, but you got to have the talent, right? You got to have some gifts and abilities. If you got some raw ability, we can do everything else. So for all my speakers and authors, are you good, right? Do you have a message that's really going to transform? Right? Or is this just about you telling your story? See, a lot of speakers get on that stage and they want to perform and just tell their story. And when they get off the stage, it's how did I do? How was I? No, that's a young speaker. That's an immature speaker. That's a speaker who's insecure, still trying to find themselves. And I guess we all kind of travel through that time, but eventually it can't be about you. You can't get on the stage and say, here I am. It's all about me, because your audience is going to feel it. Your readers are going to read it, and they're going to know, like, man, you're not really trying to help me transform. You up there, just doing that's for you. But once you mature and understand, like, you know what, I really want to help you lead. I really want to help you grow your business. And I got the how-tos on how you're going to improve your culture. I got a how-to you're going to improve your mindset. I got some how-tos on how you're going to make more money. I got how-tos how you're going to grow your business. We got one guy in our speaking program. He was like, Walter, I didn't play in the NBA, and I didn't lose a leg climbing, a mountain. How can I be a speaker? I said, look, dude, if you listen, follow directions and execute. And he's booking $5,000 virtuals. And Shay, he thanks me and is literally emotional wreck because he can't believe it. And his wife is like, oh my God, like, we're just getting $5,000 extra money in our account. This is like a dream come true, right? And he's just like, dude, I didn't even have a incredible. I said, we're going to take what you got, right? And we're going to build on it. He was a pharmaceutical drug rep, so you know how to sell. Did you win some awards selling? Yeah, I was voted. I hit some quotas. I said, well, that's what we're going to use. You bring me what you got, and we're going to build it from there. Because your story is different than mine, which means your mice are different than mine. But we're going to teach you how to catch your mice. And now he's booking $5,000 virtuals because he listened, followed directions, and execute it. So small business owners, especially thought leaders, speakers, and trainers, how you gonna transform somebody? Right? Are you really gonna transform me? Because if you really gonna transform me, you're gonna make a whole lot of money because people out here need help. They don't need you selling something and then they don't get the result. Okay? You gotta sell a result. So when I go and speak, guys, I tell people all the time, my keynote is my commercial. It's not my business. I'm gonna say it one more time. My keynote is my commercial. It's not my business. And so when I get done with my commercial, my clients want more, right? Because I know what I'm doing. I just learned. I failed a lot. I read a lot of books. I just got done reading the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Why? Because I'm about to write a teamwork book. So I want to get as much information on teamwork. I want to know all the contents out there. So when I write my book called Work Expressions, you ain't even ready for that. Work Expressions. You better know how you express yourself through your work. That's how I became wealthy after sports. In basketball, Shay, I knew my game. When I got in business, I got to know my game. How did Bill Gates make a gazillion dollars? He knows his game. How did Elon Musk make a billion? Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah. Come on, you got to know your game. How do you express yourself through your work? So if you know how you play your game at work, you can build the right team around you. My wife and I complement each other. We don't compete with each other. We complement each other. But if you don't know who you are and how you express yourself through your work, how do you know the right team around you that you need to build? Okay? So that's one aspect for my thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. What we're looking for, anyone who has a next level mindset. If you're complacent, if you're happy where you are, you're a horrible fit for me. If you're trying to get to the next level, if you're trying to get bigger, stronger, and faster and blow this thing up, you are perfect for us because it's all about that. Let me tell you something. If I can do it, you can do it. Here's the truth. I've never had a real job, Shay. I left the NBA and I put my little resume together, and HR people would not hire me. Well, we need more experience, and you don't have any work experience. And I got upset one time because I got a wife and 3 kids, Shay, and I didn't make that Kobe Bryant money.
Yeah.
I made Walter Bond money, which means I had 12 months before I go broke, and I need a job. And you know, these I got a couple of entry level jobs, and I was like 30,000. Like my bills ain't entry level. I can't take this job, and I didn't want to acquiesce lifestyle. How am I 31 making 30 grand? And I was like, okay, well, I got to launch my own business. And honestly, guys, I never had a real job, but I've been reading books and I've been learning on my own, studying and training. I've used money the right way. It's a currency that is meant to flow. Hear me. Athletes who go broke don't understand currency. Money is a currency that is meant to flow. You take your money and stop going to freaking Capitol Grill with your girlfriends thinking you fabulous. Right? You rather take that $150 and go buy you 5 books. Because if you read the right 5 books, you can go buy Capitol Grill.
Yes, you can.
Right? So how are we doing with our currency, guys? If you look at your checkbook the last 90 days, how much money have you invested in you getting smarter? How much money have you invested in you learning how to market, learning how to sell, learning corporate culture, understanding how teamwork works? How much money of your money have you invested in you? I went to a workshop in London, England. Okay, my wife and I paid $15,000 for this workshop. Shay, I had other speakers say, "Man, I heard you went to this workshop, man. How much did it cost?" Didn't even ask me about the results of what I learned. His only question was, "How much was it?" I said it was 15. No, it was like 10,000 plus travel. We flew first class. It was 15 grand. This is what the guy said to me. I would never pay 15,000 for a trainer. You know what I told him? And you'll never be a Hall of Fame speaker either. They say LeBron James spends $1 million on his body. Why not? He just signed a 2-year extension for $85 million. You invest $1 million in you, and it converts into $40 million. Who wouldn't do that all day? What are you investing in you? You waiting for your company to give you a training? You waiting for some free stuff online? No, go and find the best training that money can buy and invest in it because you're going to get it back. We turned that 15,000 into millions of dollars. Why wouldn't I do it, Shay? And the whole training was how to better connect with your audience. When I get done with the keynote, man, I got grown men be in tears, man. Like, dude, I felt like you were talking to me. 3,000 people. Man, I felt like you were talking to me, dude. I got trained on how to connect with each and every individual, right? And it's real, it's genuine, it's authentic. But I got trained. I had coaches to help me in basketball that taught me how to shoot the ball, taught me how to pass the ball, taught me how to rebound the ball. We had physical therapists who taught me the importance of my ab and midsection and how to be fluid and not have tight muscle groups and why your back hurting and your hand. You got educated on nutrition. Why? Because it was a part of the industry. So you got to become an expert, but you got to hire professionals to help you become an expert. We have invested in our business to become experts. And all the money and the currency that we spend, it comes back tenfold, 11-fold. And we're generous. We have a nonprofit that we help small businesses. Those who can't afford it, we help them too. Why? Because I've been around these millionaires. I've been around these gazillionaires. We got a guy that lives across the street from me. Shay, he goes, back before the coronavirus. He's like, Walter, you're never home. Like, oh my God, you're never here. And I said, you know what? If I had your plane, I'm just joking, Shay. You know, I said, well, if I had your plane, he goes, well, that's a good point. I was like, dude, I was joking. And later on, he was like, yeah, I got a Cessna. And blah, blah. I was like, oh my God. Like, I'm joking. And you really I forgot where I live.
Yeah.
And I'm around successful business people all day. And I'm telling you, it's like I finally found my tribe. Your salary will be the average of your 5 closest friends. Take your money and invest in more information and coaching, and take your money and invest in getting you access to people who are operating at the level in which you want to operate. And I'm telling you, Shay, if you do those 2 things with your money, today's program was worth it for you.
Now, what's your website? For those folks that are out there, do me a favor. Go to walterbond.com. Do me a favor. Look right below the video right now. What's going on? Eric and Sakisha, they're out there in Orlando, by the way. Got a company called Marriage Can Win. They're out there watching, by the way. Shout out to you and shout out to all of you out there. But do me a favor, if you would. Look below the video and just type www.walterbond.com. Is that right, Walter? www.walterbond.com. Now, when you go there, follow the instructions. It's laid out. So for some of you, you're like, okay, this is what I need. And others of you will see right there. You go right there. You can follow those directions right now. Walter, before I ask you about this, today is my January 1st. I know we're in overtime probably for you right now. That's what Walter would call it, overtime. But take a moment for those folks that are there and like, okay, this is cool. I see what he does. I now understand it. But if you could talk to the person into the camera now and say, you know what, if you're on the fence thinking, yeah, should I do it or should I not do it? It's a loaded question, but what's one of the reasons why they should take the step and at least start the conversation with your company, whether they're looking for someone to bring in to speak to their organization or they're looking to work with someone? Again, it's a loaded question. It's hard for you to answer that in a short amount of time. I want you to take a minute or two and just talk to the person out there. It's like, okay, she heard all that, but what's one of the reasons that Walter said I should at least engage his company and start the process to see if it's a good fit?
Well, it goes back to mindset, Shay. I know what it takes to be a pro, right? When I think about high school, you had like a volunteer coach, right? And you were very lucky to get a good coach in high school. But after high school, all of my coaches were trained professional coaches at the Division I level. They knew how to develop players. And they helped me reach my potential. And they got paid. That was their job. In the NBA, you had great coaches. Why? This is their business. This is their livelihood. They were expert coaches. And so if you think about your business and you want to get it to the next level, here's the truth. If you could have gotten it to the next level yourself, you'd have done it by now. So that's what coaches do. Like I had a personal trainer who made me work out and do things I never even thought of, but I got the result and I didn't even understand what to do, when I worked out. I didn't know what weights to lift and how much to lift and how many reps and how much time we should recover in between and what do I eat when I'm done? What do I eat? I had to learn all that stuff and I had professionals I paid who taught me how to do it and made sure I did it and held me accountable, but I got the result. The truth is, if your mindset is cheap, okay, and I don't spend no money. Your mindset is holding you back. because you're giving money control over you when you should be controlling your money. And I'm telling you, do the exercise. Look in your checkbook right now and look at all the money you spend. Think about it, clothes and the car you drive, and just think about all the money you spend. What happens if you redirected some of the resources and basically say, you know what, I'm going to invest in me, in my development. I never had a job, Shay, so I had a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it though, which is cool. And here's what I do too, Shay, and this could attract everybody. We do a program called the off season. And here's how I made it to the NBA. I didn't start in college, guys. I came off the bench and I went to my coach my freshman year. I didn't play a lick. I said, Coach, what do I need to do to play in the NBA? My coach laughed in my face. He said, son, you don't play for me. This is what I told him, Shay. I said, but next year, I'm going to become your most improved player. Next year, I'm going to become somebody different. He was like, son, you can't run, you can't jump, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, you can't rebound. But this off season, you got to work, son. This off season, you got to attack your off season, and I need you to get exponentially better. So the concept of the off season gave me hope. And Shay, I attacked my off season. The next year, he voted me most improved player, and I asked that same question, Shay, Coach, what do I need to do to play in the NBA? And every year, he voted me most improved player, and every year that list got shorter. And what happened? I got transformed into an NBA ball player. So when I think about the off season, when we got into business, I was like, man, that's nothing more than a really good strategic planning session that forces you to create new habits and new rituals. We are all creatures of habits, okay? And in order for you to take your company to the next level, you got to create some new habits and new rituals. I didn't always shoot 500 shots a day, but then my coach taught me the correct form. And with the correct form, I shot 500 shots a day. I turned a weakness into a strength and became known as a shooter. So imagine if you are able to identify where you're weak in business. In our off season, we have a session called Brutal Honesty. Well, you got to be brutally honest. What do you suck at as a business person? If you can't confront your weaknesses, don't call me. If you can't be real and honest, don't waste my time and don't waste your time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know in my off season, when my coach said, son, you can't run, you can't jump, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, and you can't rebound, I was like, got it, coach, and I agree with you. Based on NBA standards, I'm not there. So I got to get better, coach. Thanks for being honest with me. And in the off season, I worked on all these things he shared with me. And so you got to be brutally honest with you. And we take all of our coaching clients through our off season program, and it's very detailed. We slow down so you can speed up. And the worst thing the entrepreneurs want to do is something quick. They want something quick and something easy. When's the last time, Shay? Let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
You like some good food. When's the last time you had a great meal prepared in a microwave? Never.
I'm sitting here trying to think, and I'm stuck. Like, that's another of those Chicago things, isn't it? I'm like, yeah.
Man, how many times your mama or your auntie or your grandmama threw something in that crock pot?
My mouth is watering now, man. That's not even fair. Why are you gonna do that?
It's the analogy that I want my business people to get. Transformation is a process. Mm-hmm. And if you get a pro coach to help you through your transformation, you're going to turn out good. In fact, you're going to turn out amazing. And my mom, I remember before church, she'd wake up early and put that pot roast in the crock pot, put us some Lipton soup seasoning, threw some vegetables in there, and plug that thing in and put it on low. And we go to church and come back 4 or 5 hours later. Man, that meat was melting in your mouth, falling off the bone. Why? Because it was a crock pot experience. It was slow and steady. Microwave mentality business people, they never make any progress. They want everything quick, easy, and cheap. And to truly transform your organization to where it's real, like I said, you can't fake this thing. I can't walk into a board meeting and fake it. Okay? I can't have a one-on-one coaching session with a billionaire and fake it, which means I had to take my time and truly understand leadership, truly understand peak performance. And so if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer your question based on peak performance. Why? Because I'm an expert authority on peak performance, right? And so it took time to become an expert on peak performance. And I grew up in Chicago. We had a lot of fronters, folks fronting like they big time. Like, bruh, why don't you just spend your time and go be big time instead of spending all your time pretending to be big time, right? So let's stop pretending to be successful business people and just become successful business people because we master the fundamentals of marketing, master the fundamentals of selling, master the fundamentals of leadership and culture building. Some companies don't even have core values. How can you create a culture if you don't even know what your core values are? And if your company does not have core values, trust me, every individual, they're going to come in with their own personal core values. And before you know it, you got chaos. Before you know it, you got a mixed match culture that doesn't work. And it's your fault because you didn't build a culture based on corporate core values. I can go, man, look, this is what we do, Shay. We coach people all day long. I got a call today at 6:30 with the chief people officer of PayPal.
Right.
This is what we do all day long. My heart is for an entrepreneur. And my thought is, man, all these big companies use me. And my wife coaches as well. All these big companies use me. But I'm an entrepreneur. I got the heart of a small business owner. I work in a home-based office, and I want my entrepreneurs to understand I'm here for you, because I'm not. I'm the underdog, just like you. I'm the hustler, just like you. But I understand what it takes to be the best in the world at what you do. And my first business, we filed bankruptcy, bro.
I
My very
understand.
first
Been there.
business, but we learned. We failed forward, and this is what I learned. I was not passionate about that business. All I wanted to do was make money. It taught me a valuable lesson, Shay. You got to really have passion around the business you give yourself to.
Mhm.
Because if you don't absolutely love it, you cannot be successful in it, because going to work is going to be painful. I played ball every day, all day until I was 31. And for most of my life, I played for free. Why? I love to play basketball.
Mhm.
My only concern when my career ended, I got on my knees, Shay, and I prayed. I was like, Lord, what can I find to do that I love as much as playing basketball? And I made that request to the Lord. And before I knew it, I was a Hall of Fame speaker, best-selling author. And when I got offered to sit on a corporate board, I thought about those HR professionals who looked me in the eye, Shay,
Mhm.
say, you know what? No, thank you. I thought about them. I was like, isn't this funny? Now I'm sitting on corporate boards. And for a long time, and I couldn't even get a job. Growth, transformation. But I took my currency and did two things. I invested in my own personal development, and I took that same currency and invested in access to successful people. Here's my final thought on that one. If you get in my coaching program, you get access to me. And if I like you, you get access to my entire network. Think about that. All of the investment that I use to get to where I am, if you get connected to me, and if I like you, and if you're professional, if you handle your business, why wouldn't I give you access to my network? I'm having a phone call today in a couple of hours with a key executive of PayPal. I got the meeting through another relationship. God ain't dropping nothing out the sky anymore. Everything we get is going to pass through another human's hands. Remember this, people, write it down. Successful people know a lot of people. Successful people know a lot of people. When I got into the country club, I got to network at a whole nother level, and my career took off. Why? Because I got access to business people who didn't. didn't have who can hook me up themselves. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Stop hanging around people. I'm gonna try and hook you up, but I gotta go and talk to somebody. Getting to the person they're gonna talk to. Currency can give you access to the decision maker, and that's my whole point about that.
That's his point. What I want to make sure too is he's going through that. He's such a humble guy. Walter, right now they're looking at offseasonplan.com. You can't see it, I don't think, but they're on there. He talked about this. Go over to offseasonplan.com. That's what he was just talking about. He spent some time there. You'll see here it has the off-season boot camp. It's a green and white screen, Walter. That's what we're looking at. I know you can't see it, but I wanted my team to pull it up for them. You'll see here it says your future will be made by our off seasons. Learn to make your downtime count. He has what can you do with a successful off season, and he has a bunch of points that he's kind of talked about. Execute a new plan of attack, create action plans, refresh business plans, create habits and rituals. One of his things, create habits and rituals, followed by get bigger, stronger, and faster. Then there's a button. He even has the course modules. Everyone do me a favor. Look right below the video, and then I'm coming to him. Look right below the video and type www.offseasonplan.com. Sean Harper, I see you out there. Great guy. Got to make sure I connect you. If you don't know him, Walter, I make sure I connect you to Sean Harper. Great guy, by the way. And so many folks that are tuning in right now. Make sure you do that as you're looking at it. Go to offseasonplan.com. Here's what Walter didn't know, right? I'm in. I'm seeing it. So I'm going to see some of y'all over there. When we get off of here, I'm going right online. I'm going to take care of the transaction. I think y'all have only heard me say that one time, and that was with Dr. Willie Jolly, by the way, because I got to get the box every darn time. But I'm in. I know he's going to bring up the off-season on here, but I'm so glad he did. So for those folks that are ready to be in the off-season, we'll see you in the regular season because we'll be all prepared. I'm all in. So you go over there too. Go to the bottom. There's a link. Click it. If you got questions, you can contact his office. Now, if you're watching this, some of you watching this live, I get it. Some of you may be seeing the replay. If it's up there, congratulations. If offseasonplan.com is gone, it's just gone. You just missed out. But I would type it in. Matter of fact, do that right now, just real quick. And Walter, I'm going to get you to do, today's my January 1st, and then we're out of here. But I want you to go over there now and go to www.offseasonplan.com. Just make sure the site works. So if you listen to the podcast, let's make sure it works, and then follow the instructions. If it's not there, then you just missed out. But let's all be a part of this off-season loan. I like the last box he has here. Honest assessment of you and your business. I hate doing that. It's like talking to the bookkeeper. I get it. Some of you, we hate doing that. I just hate doing it. But it's necessary. It's necessary. Just like I hate having a personal trainer. But it's necessary, and it made me stronger, faster, and better. So with that being said, Walter, we have this philosophy. You talk about culture. And one of our philosophies is this whole belief that today is my January 1st. And for those folks that are out there watching, you know what I'm about to do. You can look below the video. You can write these words. Today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. And for those folks who want to know what in the LL Cool J is Shay talking about over there, today is my January 1st represents one of those moments where we don't wait for January 1st on the calendar. We create a January 1st moment every single day. So it's always Happy New Year, right? So every day, there's probably 1,000 moments throughout the day. And any one of those moments could change the trajectory of your life when you make a decision. You make a decision right now that you're going to work out because you're not going to get the Corona 19, or you're going to sit back and you're going to binge watch. That's a January 1st moment. You make a decision, you're going to eat hamburgers and French fries, salt, pepper, ketchup, maybe some hot sauce. My sons love hot sauce on theirs. Or you're going to go to the refrigerator and open up, and inside the refrigerator, there's some kale. That sounds good. There's some broccoli. I know that's good. There's some Brussels sprouts. That's a January 1st moment. So it's a do-over. It's a fresh start. It's my past does not equal my future. Walter Bond, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes to your mind, my man?
Next level, new beginnings, new starts. And, to me, if you're not getting what you want out of life, you got to change. And accountability is so tough for people to be able to look in that mirror and just be honest with themselves. And the one thing I loved about the pursuit of the NBA, we were all very confident. And when your confidence is at a certain level, when you identify your weaknesses, it's not an indictment on you. It's not like I'm a bad basketball player, so I can't. All these defense mechanisms are gone once you get confidence. And so if you have the inability to be honest with you, there's something going on with your confidence. And I want to remind you that you are made in the image of God. Okay, you are made in God's likeness. And since that is the case, you are capable of doing about anything that you want to do. And so it all begins in the mind. And that's why we always talk about the shark mindset. You know, sharks run the ocean for one reason. They just outperform all the other sharks. First of all, sharks never stop moving or they die, which means sharks have incredible work ethic. So my first question, if your confidence is not high, maybe you need to work harder. Right? You know, because if you have good work ethic, that builds confidence, right? And if you're not working hard, how you shouldn't have confidence. You know, I got confident as a ball player because of my work. I put in so much work, your confidence is sky high, right? And so if your mindset is right, then it's about your attitude. Okay, sharks only look up; they never look down, right? Which means they are positive and they don't deal with anything beneath them. Ah, stop being petty. Okay, stop letting little things distract you. You will dwell in what you dwell on. You know, what is your mindset like? What are you thinking about all day? Do you ever think about what you think about? I've been saying that for 10, 15 years. Do you ever think about what you think about? I mean, are you actually convinced that somebody can actually stop you? You got people who really believe that, man, there's people out here scheming to stop me. If you believe that there's somebody, person out here scheming to stop you, you can't not believe in God. If you believe in God, like my kids, if my kids act right, I'm gonna take them all to McDonald's, right? If you, I'll get some ice cream. Remember that growing up? If you act right, I'll go get you some ice cream. You know, and I think if we act right, I think God will bless us, to be honest with you. He wants us to be fruitful. He wants us to be multiplying. He wants us to subdue the earth. He wants us to be successful. So if you're not flourishing, there's something going on with your mind. As a man thinks, so is he. Who lied to you? And don't tell me my mama used to cuss me out. My daddy told me I was no good. Stop blaming your mama and your daddy if they didn't say the right thing. Stop blaming them. Because I blame you if you believe them. You can say anything you want to me. You can't call me stupid because I know I'm not stupid. You can't call me ugly because I know I'm not ugly. Folks talk smack all the time. When I played in the NBA, you had hecklers. Fans were hecklers. Do you think one heckler ever affected my confidence? Think about that. Every time you left the stadium, Walter Bond, you suck. I'm like, dude, I got on an NBA jersey. You want me to believe I'm bad? I'm better than you. All right. If nothing else, I'm better than you. Right? And so the mindset of an athlete is very confident. And that confidence was bred about around hard work and identifying a gift and really executing the gift that God gave you. And so we created work expressions as an assessment to help people really understand how they're gifted. Are you an innovator? Are you an initiator? Are you an instigator? Are you an improver? Are you an implementer? I knew my game on the basketball court. That's how I made it. But in business, I know my game too. I'm an improver and I'm an innovator. I stay in my lane. My wife is an initiator and she's also an implementer. She stays in her lane. So we got innovators in our company. We have initiators in our company. We have improvers in our company. And we have implementers in our company. With two of us and how we express ourselves through our work, we're pretty balanced with two people. And we just hired our daughter, right? So you got to know your game. You got to know how you express yourself through your work. And so when I think about January 1st, do something different. If you're not getting the results that you want, you got to get more in tune with who you are. And don't be afraid to really look at your weaknesses. Right now, have a brutal, honest assessment about you. You might say, Walter, I don't know how to market. That's crazy. Like, I've never even read a marketing book. That's like a basketball player who wants to play in the NBA and never dribbling a basketball. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? What if you say, well, I got a company and I really don't have a leadership philosophy? Well, how are you going to lead people if you don't know how? How are you going to build a brand if you don't know how? How are you going to sell and you don't know how? I played basketball from the time I was 8 to about 23 before somebody paid me. That's a lot of basketball before I was considered a pro worthy to get paid. But all those years, I was getting better. I was developing. I was learning how to play basketball. I was mastering the game. You got to look at business the same way. Imagine if you master marketing. Imagine if you master leadership. Imagine if you take an off season every year and get 10% better. Everybody put up 10. Imagine if you get 10% better every year. That's very realistic. It's very doable. 10% every year. In 5 years, you won't even recognize your company. In 5 years, your revenue will have increased. 5 years, a 10% improvement. That's what I did as a ball player. Every year, I got about 10% better. And within 5 years, I was an NBA ball player just by improving by 10%. So imagine if you just get a little bit better at marketing, a little bit better at selling, a little bit better at culture building, a little bit better at teamwork, all at the same time, you'll be a much different business person. And you got to look at it that way. Each and every year is its own entity. Okay. In sports, you play one season at a time. When the season ends, that year is over. And when you enter your off season, every team's got a chance to win the championship the next year. So whatever you did in 2020, when this year is over, it's over. I know some of y'all like, thank God. But 2021 is a brand new year. And imagine if you have a really good offseason right now in December and you hit the streets January 1st with a better marketing strategy, a better sales strategy, a better identity of who your a customer is. I shared a lot of content today, but imagine if you just got 10% better based on what I said today. It would have a huge impact in your ability to imagine if you just said, Walter, you right. You know what? I'm going to use my money and go read some books. Or I'm going to use my money and I'm going to upgrade my health club. And there's a high-end health club down the street. And I'm going to join that club. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. But I believe some of them people you're talking about work out there. Do that. You don't even have to come and do a coaching program with me. I don't even care, honestly. But I want you to understand I'm here for you to help you get to that next level. You hear my heart. You hear my passion. Shay said, hey, let's do something for our entrepreneurs. Cool, let's go. You my people. You my tribe. I'm a ball player, okay? And my parents say you better not go broke. Okay? Shay, I listened to my mom and my daddy, and I ain't going broke. And my uncle said this at a family reunion. The Bond family might have some problems, but money ain't going to be one of them. You might have some problems, but don't let money be one of them. Because if you have some money, it could probably almost solve all your problems. Your kid needs some extra tutoring, you got to have some money. Your daughter want to learn a second language, you need some money. Your baby girl been following directions, got a great attitude, and she told you her dream is to go to Harvard, go to Stanford, and mama, you don't have the money when she's 18, and that kid did everything right? Come on now. That ain't right. Money allows you to express who you really are better. That's what money does. Money allows you to express who you are better. That's all. It's a currency. And if you run out, let's go get some more. If you run out of money, it's tons of money out here. Let's go get some more. I can teach you how to go get it. Let's go get it. If I can get it, you can get it. If I can sit on corporate boards, you can sit on corporate boards. I flunked out of my first high school. We didn't even talk about that shit.
No, we're going to have a part two, man. Walter can go on and on. I got to stop him. I didn't even met his wife, but I know she's like, Shay. Look, don't shoot me, please. She is so wonderful. She just takes care of you, Walter. I certainly appreciate her answers to email. I know it's not you back there, so I really appreciate her doing all that. Tell her I respect the time I get it. One thing I know, ladies and gentlemen, we can always make more money. And Walter's talking about that. You all can make more money, but none of us can make more time, right? We cannot make more time. So I'm going to ask Walter at this point if he'll do two things. One, close us out. That's very important. But on top of that, I'm going to give him two sites that I want y'all to go to. One, but first, hit the share button. I want you all to give a standing ovation. Now, how do you give that standing ovation? How do you give that digital applause for someone who came to do nothing but serve and add value? Hit the share button. Hit the watch party button and just say, meet me in the off season. That's all you got to do. This is meetmeintheoffseason.com. Just share that site forward to someone else. It's like they're on their comeback. They're ready for the offseason, and they're not trying to win a championship, but they want to put a Hall of Fame caliber player on their team. Well, that's what you're looking at with Walter Bond. I always say I'm a Hall of Fame player because I took his idea by saying I'm the greatest they're ever going to have. But he is that guy, and you're putting that type of caliber person on your team to win multiple championships. He ain't say just win a championship. He said we're going to win a couple of them, okay? And so he's that type of guy. So do me a favor. Look right below the video. After you hit the share button, it's about www.walterbond.com. Because there's some folks that just don't know who he is, and they'll get a chance to get associated. And then others are wondering, how can I take it to the next level? Go to www.offseasonplan.com, www.offseasonplan.com Follow the instructions. There's some specials out there. If you're fortunate, get in while you can get in. Because I don't know what the numbers are. Get in before you get in before the thing shuts down. I'm going to suggest you do that. Walter, take a moment, if you would, and just close us out and talk to the folks, which you have already done. I don't know how you can do anymore. But just share your closing thoughts. Sometimes at the very end of these, folks share thoughts to empower, to inspire. These entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, trainers, thought leaders. Some of them are dualpreneurs, and so they're working a full-time profession and they're a full-time entrepreneur. These lights are going to go off, right? These fiber optic lines will go down, and they've got to go back and they've got to execute. Now, you said listen. You said follow directions. And that last part is execute. And we know the universe rewards people who take action differently than those that don't. So I'm going to ask Walter to share his closing thoughts and finish this out, by the way. Don't worry. I'll see if I can get him back, and I'll see if he'll share. Just take a little bit of time and share the shark mindset. I know. Don't worry about it. Get the book. All right? Go buy the book. Go get the off-season plan. Maybe he'll give you the book, okay? Just go get the off-season plan. And someone knows, hey, man, you have a soft copy of this? All right, Walter, again, thanks a lot for spending time with the Happy Entrepreneur Tribe. For those folks out there, Regina, thanks for hanging in there so long. We appreciate it. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Kelvin. I see you out there. Sakisha's still here. James Pickett is out there. William Gray. So many folks. Y'all can all put thank you below. Walter's tuned in. He's here. He's here with you, but go ahead and leave a comment below and just say thank you. Over to you, Walter. From the bottom of my heart, thanks for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. You're amazing. You're incredible. I hear you all the time in my ears. Your favorite saying is, whose voice are you hearing? Well, I used to hear my mom and dad's, but now I hear Walter's voice in my ears through the power of YouTube and so many other things. Over to you, my man.
Well, real briefly, the reason why I'm so inspired, I shared earlier, I flunked out of my first high school. And when I look at the life I have right now, if I can do it, you can do it. My dad was my high school principal after I flunked out, and he transferred me to his school. And I'm the youngest, and he would always say to me, you're just as smart as my other two kids, but your value system is screwed up. This family produces student athletes. This family produces student athletes. And every day, my dad would build my confidence and set expectation. He would build my confidence and set expectation. And once I believed that I was just as smart as my brother and sister, okay? Once I believed I was good enough to play in the NBA, once I believed that I can get a microphone and I can rock the house as good as anybody on this earth, once I believed I could walk into a corporate boardroom and add value, that's when it was real. And so I want you to understand that believing in yourself is the most important thing you can do, because as a man thinks, so is he. And so we got to work on your mindset, because the mindset is like who we are. The mindset is going to either cripple you, or your mindset is going to position you to be the best in the world at what you do. Could you imagine your life living the life you did or dreamt when you were in the third grade? Everybody got in front of that class, Shay, and what do you want to be when you grow up? And we all had big dreams, but some of us got realistic. Some of us gave up. Some of us quit and just settled on something less than. I want you to dream again. I want you to reopen that dream that you had in the third grade and say, man, it is not too late. It is never too late. As long as you got breath in your body, it is never too late, but you got to get better. You have to improve you. And here's my final thought. Who you are right now is a point of reference. And if you want to get more out of life, you got to become somebody different. You literally have to transform yourself. And as you transform you, here's what's going to happen. You're going to respond differently to situations. You're going to respond differently to adversity. You're going to respond, and you're just going to react as you become somebody different. You used to curse people out, but not anymore. You used to be rude, but not anymore. You used to go golf every day, but not anymore, okay? You used to be a micromanager, but not anymore. But you got to grow. You got to transform. And as Shay said earlier, you got to get a coach, okay? If it's not me, go find somebody else. And stop being so freaking cheap trying to surf the internet for all this free stuff, okay? Stop doing that. I mean, I had a coach in that car every day saying, you're just as smart as my other two kids, but your value system is screwed up. When I got to the University of Minnesota, I had coaches. When I got to the NBA, I got coaches. My Buck Swim is about a shark and a suckerfish. I don't have time to break that down, but every suckerfish needs a shark. And suckerfish are called sharks because they connect to the shark. So my final challenge for you is, who are you connected to? What shark are you connected to that's going to help you get to your next level. When you get off the internet tonight and you laying in your bed, take your phone and just do a Google search on the relationship between a shark and a suckerfish. I've been a suckerfish my whole life, connected to sharks that helped me become me. Now, I flipped the script. Now, I'm finally ready to be a shark. Now, I'm finally ready to be your shark. But are you going to be a good suckerfish? Are you going to connect to the movement? Are you going to connect to a coach that can help you get to your next level? And all I want to do is clap. We got a guy in our speaking program who makes $300,000 part-time. 300 grand part-time, Shane. You heard me right.
I heard you.
But he listens, he follows directions, and he executes. Jerry Sloan was the all-time winningest coach, 4th all-time, and he taught me that as an NBA ball player. He says, Walter, if you listen, if you follow directions, and if you execute, that's my coach talking to me. He said, you'll be fine. Jerry Sloan passed away this September, and I flew out to Salt Lake in the COVID environment just to respect him. He said, Coach, man, not only did you bless me as a ball player, but you blessed me as a training and development guru, because I'm looking for people who will listen. I'm looking for people who will follow directions. And I'm looking for people who will execute. And if that is you, let's go. If that's you, holler at your boy. If that's you, email us, call us, get plugged in. We do it for the big boys all day in corporate America, but we got something just for you that'll fit your budget. And God bless.
God bless. With that being said, thank you so much, Walter Bond. Thank you all that are out there. Go over to walterbond.com or go to www.offseasonplan.com. Again, www.offseasonplan.com. I want you to know that you're amazing. I want you to know you're incredible. And that for you, the best is still yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. With that being said, my name for those folks who are curious is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. We'll make some good things how we connect again next time. God bless, and I wish you success. Remember, time is so long. Life, on the hand, is short. You got to live in the moment. You got to make it count. God bless. We wish you success. Peace. We're out of here. Thanks a lot, Walter. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win. Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.